Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we are here with a very common express entry question that we get very often. Can we claim points for foreign work experience and Canadian work experience at the same time while in Canada? So it's probably a very question most of the people who are looking for their permanent residence in Canada do have it. So stick around because I'll break this down step by step with examples. So let's say you are in Canada on a valid work permit and you are working full time for a Canadian employer. At the same time, you are also working remotely for an employer which is back home. Now, the big question is, can you claim CRS points for both Canadian and foreign work experience at the same time? Or do you have to choose one? So, the key rule for work experience is what type of work experience is. So, Canadian work experience only counts if you are employed by a Canadian entity and you are actually entered into the Canadian labor market. And this means you are being paid by a Canadian employer, and it's a job that would normally be filled by a Canadian citizen or a PR. And foreign work experience, it can include remote work for a foreign employer, even if you are physically in Canada. So, as long as the employer is abroad and you meet the NOC code criterias and full-time requirements, it's considered a foreign experience. So yes, you can actually claim both at the same time as long as the jobs meet the requirements. For example, you might get CRS points for your Canadian work experience and CRS transferability points for your foreign work experience. But keep in mind the system won't give you extra points for working more than 30 hours per week. That's very important to be noted. Even if you work 40, 50 hours per week, you're only going to be getting work experience points for 30 hours per week. So, two full time jobs, it doesn't mean double the CRS points. So, here's where it gets tricky. So, the express entry system doesn't have a special category for remote work when entering your work history. You need to list the country of the employer, not where you're sitting when you're doing the job basically. And when you are invited to apply by the express entry, when you receive an express entry ITA, your invitation to apply, always provide letter of explanations, proofs of your remote work experience, details about where you and your employer were physically located, and the onus is always on you, the applicant, to convince the officer that your work experience meet the program rules. So it's very important to note that the criterias need to be explained how you meet the criterias. So it both the experiences, Canadian and foreign experience, can be claimed at the same time, provided you're able to prove it. And to summarize, your remote work for a foreign employer while living in Canada counts as foreign work experience, and your remote work for a Canadian employer while living outside Canada also counts as foreign work experience. So, only when you are employed by a Canadian entity inside the Canadian labor market does it count as a Canadian work experience. So, I'm sure you have now understood the difference between Canadian work experience and foreign work experience. So, you need to understand that quite well before you can understand if remote work can help you out. So, I'm hoping this question has been answered, which is a question for so many of the people. So, yes, you may be able to claim both Canadian and foreign work experience points at the same time, but you need to prove it with strong documentation. Have you had experience claiming remote work in your Express Entry profile? Drop in your comments and let us know what is your experience in regards to that. And we are happy to help you out. And please let us know what type of videos you'd like to see. And thanks for tuning in. See you all in the next video.